Alright, I want to talk about editing the WordPress config file. So first off, I gotta say, this is optional, but it is very good to know how to do for a variety of reasons you will possibly encounter later. I also think the more control you can exert over all these different files in your directory, the better. It'll seem less intimidating if you ever do need to go in and edit them. But again, entirely optional. Once you have installed WordPress, as per video 4, it will create this file for you through the setup process. So if this seems wildly intimidating, you can feel free to skip it. So the second caveat to this is that when we're doing this editing, it has to be done with an editor that's meant for editing code. So Text Wrangler, like we used in 277, is a good one. There are several others, Adobe Edge Code, there's plenty. Just make sure you're not using something like Microsoft Word because it's going to interject all sorts of extra crap in there that is going to make this file useless and will jam everything up. So keep those things in mind and we'll be fine. So the first thing we need to do is open the WP config sample file. Here it is, and it's asking for a few things. Now this is just an example, and I'll show you how we're going to fill it out and resave it. And to do that, we're going to need to go to our control panel, go to the MySQL database page, wherever that might live on your particular host. And we're going to go down and select the database we created. Here we are. And so if you notice in this sample file, it's asking for a few things. It's asking for a database name in between these prime marks. So we're going to find the database name. We're going to copy and paste it here. We're going to find the host name. It says localhost. We're going to replace that with our specific name. We want the username. We're going to paste that there. And then we have to use the password that we created previously. There are a number of ways, depending on your host, to actually do that if you've forgotten. In our case, it's design1, and I'll change that later to something more robust. In any case, what I'm going to do now is save as. And in the previous video, I already configured this file and resaved it, but basically what we need to do is save it as wp-config. We need to get rid of the sample prefix, or suffix, excuse me, and so in this case, because one that already exists, I'm going to replace it, but if this is the first time doing it, there shouldn't be one with that name. So now I'm going to switch over to the directory and find this sample file. I'm actually going to delete this. There's no harm in leaving it, particularly once you upload your new file, but it's just good file hygiene. So I'm going to grab my newly minted config file and drag it into that same directory. And here it is. So we should be all ready to go. So that is how you edit the config file. In the next video, we'll talk about how to log in for the first time and then eventually how to change the theme.